anything else on this? If not, we're going to move over to, I think it's the traffic and engineer report by Mr. Kim.
Thank you, Chair. The report is mostly self-explanatory, but I did want to highlight the traffic calming projects that have been completed because I think in a way they're special projects to me in that each one of those streets, and we've done a whole bunch of them, I think over close to 10 streets, and each one of them started with a public meeting that we brought the results of those public meetings to the Traffic and Mobility Commission. So we almost scoped those projects with the Traffic and Mobility Commission. So you see the genesis of the residents' concerns at the beginnings, whether they meet the criteria, and then the steps that we need to take in order to implement the traffic calming measures. And now, they're in the ground. So I just wanted to thank all the commissioners for their input. It's very important that this traffic calming is brought forward and vetted with the community, and we do that through the Traffic and Mobility Commission. So thank you. So those projects are listed for your benefit. And I also wanted to highlight the Tamarack and Valley Street pedestrian improvements. We have a contractor on board, so a pre-construction meeting will be scheduled, and we'll be seeing that construction this year. And it's a new feature, a hawk signal pedestrian hybrid beacon. That's another name for it. So it'll be the first in Carlsbad. So keep your eye for that improvement project. Otherwise, I think there's some housekeeping things that maybe Nathan wants to go over in terms of the vacancies.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kim. Yeah, so we do have, the city is currently advertising 2 open positions on the Traffic and Mobility Commission. So this would be for Commissioner Hunter's spot, which Commissioner Hunter is terming out. He's coming to the end of his term, and Commissioner Fowler, and Commissioner Fowler does have the ability to reapply for that position. So the application deadline for that is June 30th, and then you can find the application materials on the city's website. There's a link in the traffic engineers report there if you are interested. Also, just a couple other quick notes. So Sandag, they have released their 2021
I'm sorry,
regional.
Nathan, I'm sorry, let me just jump in on that. So just for this vacancy, I think it's Commissioner Hunter and Commissioner Fowler. The term is July of next month, so we'll both be attending the commissioners meeting, or is that?
Sorry, you kind of broke up there. I missed the end of your question.
Right, so Commissioner Hunter and Commissioner Fowler, I think their term is at July, right? So they will be attending the July Traffic and Mobility Commissioners meeting.
Yes, it looks like the reappointment is scheduled by City Council is on that same July 27th meeting. So
okay, all right. I just want to make sure that this is not Commissioner Hunter's last.
No, yep. We'll be back for at least one more meeting.
Okay, well, so I have time to make a cake. Okay, good.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, let's see what else. Oh yeah, and the Sandag 2021 regional plan has been released. It's open for public review now until July 30th. That's the 5 big moves plan that you've probably all have been hearing about. So I encourage you all, that would directly impact the transportation network throughout the county in the city of Carlsbad as well. So I would encourage you all to take a look at that plan and provide any comments if you do have them. The other item is the Caltrans District 11. They are working on an active transportation plan for the entire district. So that's focusing on active transportation improvements along all of the Caltrans corridors, freeways. So in the city of Carlsbad, that would be along I-5 mainly, looking at improvements to the interchanges there. I believe that's it. One other item, just under the non-agenda public comments, we've got a little tracking matrix there. One item that has been brought up in the past is that Grand Promenade. And the planning department is actually looking to take forward the Village and Barrio Master Plan. That would be an opportunity to look at the prioritization of the mobility projects in the Village and Barrio Plan. At that meeting, it was rescheduled. It's going to the City Council likely in on their July 20th meeting. I think in the staff report, it said June 15th, but that's rescheduled to July 20th. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
The council or Mr. Contreras.
Yeah, I wanted to chime in with a brief announcement on meetings. Some of you commissioners may be wondering, when are we going back to council chambers? Well, we are monitoring that. A group of public entities wrote a letter to the governor last month, and the governor recently replied that advance notice, will be provided to all public entities before the governor rescinds the executive order that allows us to meet virtually. So we will continue to monitor this. We will continue to meet virtually, and then I will weigh in again to give advance notice on when we'll be ramped up, ready to be back in the council chambers. So just know we're monitoring that for everybody here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Commissioner Pensier. You're on mute.
I said unmute and didn't do it. Okay, sorry. I have a question for Mr. Kim. The traffic calming program, and it looks like we're really completing a lot of the things we started before the lockdown. Have you been able to have these? How do you do the community meetings for everything that happened since last March up until now? Did it kind of stop everything, or what have you done to? You're getting 2 of these requests a week. Have we got a huge backlog now, or what's going on there?
We do have a small backlog of projects that have been identified for qualifying for phase 2 measures. And the phase 2 measures would start off with that public meeting. I think it's about 5 streets that have qualified. And I've had discussions with our staff to see what we should do during the pandemic, the pros and cons with trying to organize a neighborhood meeting online. And I've decided to hold off. It seems like as we're opening up, we will get an opportunity this calendar year to start with the public meetings, hopefully. And I think I would prefer that as the mechanism as opposed to trying to negotiate a new format for the public meetings online. So, and the list of streets that have qualified for phase 2 is manageable still. We still are continuing to do work with phase 1. Phase 1 measures include minor signing and striping, installing 25-mile-per-hour speed limit signs, pavement legends, putting the speed feedback signs, and letting police know. And so we're continually active on that front. It's just the phase 2, we have not started the public meetings. I'm hoping that maybe within a couple of months we can start scheduling those.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Lanky.
Yeah, I know we can't get too deeply into it probably, but I had a question about the Sandag 2021 regional plan, the big 5 big moves. I know there's some controversy with it, but it seems to me that the current plan for Carlsbad, from what I'm reading, is that we have the Palomar Airport Road employment corridor slated for some mass transit improvements, and maybe the village area and the Palomar Airport Road as a mobility hub candidates, and then I-5 and all I won't call them freeways because they're talking about they're going to start charging any vehicles that have less than 3 riders in it. They're transitioning to charging people separately. So that would be what I see as the impacts on Carlsbad. But as far as the projects, the mobility hubs and the transit projects, I'm curious, have Sandag provided any guidance to cities on what it is that they're going to provide versus what the cities are supposed to be providing for that, and how we should be planning in advance for that?
We're actually reviewing all the data that they have on their project link. So we're diving into it, but as you've touched on, Commissioner Linke, with what they're showing as a mobility hub, that has major implications on our land use decisions as well. So it's really interesting dialogue, and if you have an interest in time, it's worthwhile to watch some of the presentations. The presentation, I think it was presentation 1 or 2, where they had like Michael Manville and Bob Poole, and there was another presenter. They were talking about different mobility issues that are tied to land use decisions. That was a really good panel discussion, so I'd encourage you to watch that. But there's, the devil's in the details. Some of the real discussions are regarding what's the best alternative to approaching the transit leap. As we've heard from like Commissioner Dr. Fowler, they're looking to improve public transit ridership. In fact, they're according to their assumptions, they were trying to move the needle from 3% of users up to the range of 12% users for public mass transit. And there's discussions about what is the most cost-effective, feasible mass transit. Right now, they're saying that it includes all kinds. You can read, but it's like light rail, fixed rail, high-speed fixed rail. And what they're proposing by high-speed fixed rail is speeds up to 110 miles an hour. And then if that's the case, they're talking about grade separation. So all that type of infrastructure is really expensive. And there's been some alternative opinions that have questioned what other alternatives could be looked at or studied for public transit. So we're gonna be diving into the details and asking questions, and the EIR is out. So yeah, it's a very interesting plan.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Pensier?
Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Schmidt about the Barrio, the Grand Avenue Promenade thing. Is that going to come back to us before it goes to the city council, at least to look and see what was up? The last time that it never really came to us. It went to the planning commission, and the planning commission changed it quite a bit before they sent it to the city council. And,
Yeah,
so do we get another shot at this?
Good question, Commissioner Pensiers. Yeah, I mean, this is just to essentially kind of prioritize the projects identified in the plan itself. So once that's ready to go, we haven't really done any conceptual or engineering, design analysis. We would be bringing that to the commission for you to review.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other commissioners or any comments?